So through this video, I'm gonna quash a myth that is when you're given these videos regarding ideas and all those things that actually make the things more difficult for you. Like you have to think in a certain way, or you have to think about ideas pertaining to a cue card or whatever is the mumbo jumbo going on the maybe on the internet generally or on YouTube specifically. So what I'm gonna do in this video is that I'm gonna speak on a cue card for 15 minutes. The sole purpose of doing that is that I need to make you privy to the fact that it is possible to speak on any topic for any length that is required. It's nothing scientific, it's nothing that is beyond the capabilities of a normal person. Everybody can speak on a topic for as long as he or she requires. There is nothing, that you have to learn strategies, that you have to learn something. When you get strategies, no, you think that something is difficult, and when something is difficult, it is gonna lower your morale for sure. It's gonna lower your confidence for sure. So it's not right to know something that you already know, and that is why I'm making this video. I am gonna speak on this topic. I will take my 1 minute. I will think about what I'm gonna speak about, but I after that I will speak for 15 minutes on the same topic without even using the sub points, and you'll get to see how you can jump from any point to any other as far as the starting point is right and the topic concerns what is being spoken by you. So I'm gonna start my preparation time now, 1 minute, and then I'll speak for 15 minutes on the same topic. I'll use my stopwatch. You can skip this 1 minute if you wish. So the 1 minute is complete now, and I'll keep this phone over here, and I'll keep speaking for 15 minutes, and you'll get to see, as in, there's nothing extraordinary to that. Something that is so human, so basic, so rudimentary, has been turned into something that is worth 15,000 a month, or something that is used to give you shocks, used to give magical strategies, but these things only sensationalize the concept, and then you fall victim to this YouTube populism. So be careful. I'm not particularly someone who is very interested in stars. Actually, I am someone who is more into books and all. So there has not been any instance where I have gazed at stars for long, because it's something that has existed for, throughout my life, and I have seen them, I have observed them a bit when I'm moving under the sky in the night. But there has never been a time when I have observed them, specifically just to know what they are about. There were lessons on stars in my junior classes. There were lessons on how these constellations are made by them. There are certain patterns in the sky that are made by stars only. But there has never been an instance where I have stopped myself to think about you know it that why the stars are there, or what their particular function is, or what they should be doing in this already very large universe. So but if I talk about something that I can relate to in this regard, is that I might have thought about astronauts at a time, as in it was just because I was dealing with a paper or something, or I was dealing with a with an IELTS reading passage only then, and the passage was based on astronauts. Like, they observe stars for their properties, they observe stars for some scientific reasons, or some they observe stars for something that is going to affect the earth and other celestial bodies also. And what I read in that passage, or what I read in the other materials also that pertain to stars only, I do not remember any of that for sure, because reading passages are used for just solving the questions that are there only. But there were some things that I can actually get at right now. Like, there are some chemical substances over there that match the substances on the earth, or there are some atmospherical properties that might make it possible for us to dwell on the planets nearby, or there are some maybe rocks and other formations that might be useful on the earth also if we get them extracted from the stars or the planets otherwise. And apart from that, I think there is some application that I remember in regard to stars by virtue of their being used by astrologists also. Like they are the people who have used stars the most. They have used them for their own purposes, and they have created myths around stars. Like if this star is moving in this direction, or if that star is moving in that direction, or if it is in a zone, if it is in a mystical zone or a mythical zone in your maybe fate or your destiny, then it can do this, or you can do certain rituals, or you can practice some maybe these activities on the earth, like worshipping a figure or maybe offering some kind of food to some creature. Then your stars can be moved according to you. Now that is something, that is crapola. That is bollocks. You cannot trust anything of that sort, because a celestial body that is not under our control, how can we control it at all? So that is something very that is bullshit. As in, you do not have to trust such people. They are just making money out of using something that is beyond your control and making you think that you can control them, and they are just attracting you by you know using by devising stories that seem fascinating but are otherwise fake and false. And stars, I also remember that there was a chapter in my grade 3 or grade 4 or grade 5 where I had to draw a constellation, ursa major or ursa minor, something of that sort. And the zodiac signs, I would say the zodiac signs are based on these stars only. Like if you are born on this date, or in this month, or in this range, you have this particular star that favors you, or another star that is against you. But again, something I would say you should not be focusing on, because when you cannot have anything that relates to your being so obsessed with life otherwise on the earth, why to care about something that is there, that is maybe that the astrologer that is using, or the zodiac sign maker that is using something to manipulate you in that regard, doesn't have has not studied even until the grade 2 maybe, or he has never gone to school ever. So that is only something that capitalizes on our weaknesses, capitalizes on our insecurities. Like I'm going through a dull phase, I do not have any hope that is logical, so I would have to rely on something that gives me some amounts of positive energy, so that I can continue my work. And that these people actually make use of this thing, so that I get that energy. And energy is given, that is for sure, because our brain is like that. When we have some hope, when we have something that gives us the kick that we require to do something, we get the energy. And when we do the work, we think that the reason for that completion is the mystical connection that was told by that shaman, or the astrologer, or the mantric or something. And we think that that was because of that. But and we kind of start worshipping that person, we kind of start relying on that person, like if he were a demigod or something. But that again is something that has been brought into the picture using your insecurities. So do not fall prey to anything of that sort. My brother is very interested in stars. He is a science geek, so he would want to buy a telescope someday, or if he could, he would actually do something in regard to maybe reaching a star or something, or maybe reaching a planet or something. And he reads a lot of stuff on stars. He's very boring. And Bollywood, the Indian movie industry, has capitalized on stars a lot. Like walking under the stars is considered something very romantic. And that could be true, because I am a romantic at heart, and I think that walking beneath the stars is something that can give you the required amount of being magical. And you are not using anything that is made by humans, but by god, if he exists. And then you are under the influence of that god, and you are being you know mm, you are being someone who is beyond the worldly limits. And that is what I think love is, as has been mentioned by various scriptures and textbooks. And when you are in connection with something so beyond the human limits, you think you are one of the best people on earth. And that is something that gives the required impetus to the intensification of love that is there at that moment, in that moment. And I have seen many movies that have you know used this made capital out of this concept. For instance, I remember there was this scene in this movie called Dilwale. It stars Shah Rukh Khan and Kajol, and they kind of go from one place to another, eating something, and all that is done under the stars. From this point, I actually got a hint of one of the facts that when we have weddings in our country, we kind of have, cards printed, and there is this beautiful line written over that invitation, that this thing is going to happen under the stars or in the starlight. And I think it's written in Hindi, it's written like taron ki chhaon mein, that would actually translate into under starlight or in the light produced by stars or something. I do not know the actual collocation or actual parallel in the English world, and that again is something that gives the magical touch, I would say. And in the future, I might give a chance to looking at stars for long, because I might find something that is relevant in this regard, because not many people are doing anything that can put paid to this stupidity that a celestial body is under your control, or a celestial body is doing something, or a celestial body is giving any kind of magnification to your feelings on the earth. And I would say that stars may have some significance actually, scientifically. So I can hail the astronomical domain of this context. And after that, I would say stars have a lot of usage in the idiomatic vocabulary, like starry-eyed. Starry-eyed is used for someone who has a lot of dreams in the future, or he would do something, who wants to have something that is beyond the capabilities of a normal human. So he is called starry-eyed. Or maybe starry nights. Starry nights are romantic nights that have something, to add to your romantic value. And then I think there is this again, yeah, expression called star-crossed lovers, and that I think I last heard was used for Romeo and Juliet. Or maybe there was this movie called Ishaq Zadeh that they referred to, and it was based on Romeo and Juliet. So there's hardly any branching out here. There is branching out, but I think that is completely contextual, and I would say thematical. And the star-crossed expression is used for lovers who are not able to meet at the end. They have been mistreated by their families. They are in love with each other, and to the maximum limit, to the fullest of it, but they are not treated well by their families, and there is some kind of animosity between the families themselves that does not let the lovers meet, and they have to die at the end, mostly, as in that is what happened in Romeo Juliet, the original one. Thank you, Shakespeare, for that. And that is something that has been happening in the subsequent adaptations also. I have seen, I think, two movies based on this concept. One is Ishaq Zadeh, and another was Golio Ki Ras Leela Ram Leela. And in both of them, I think they die at the end, the lovers. And from this concept of star-crossed lovers, I think I am going to have a love story one day. I might not be able to fulfill it to the fullest, because I am an iconoclast. I do not think properly. I have rules and norms that are at odds with the conventions that are there out in the world. I am someone who would not acquiesce to the general problems that are out there, and I would try to do something that can annihilate uh, the asperity that is going out there. And that is why if I even fall in love with someone, he or she is going to be someone I it may sound awkward, but love is love, and I would not the sex of the person might be a secondary thing. And I if I fall for someone, then I think he or she is going to be from the outer world only, and he or she is going to have the same conventions only. So at a point, I might become I might get at loggerheads with that person, and then even we have a fight. But I'm not someone who will kill myself for love, because love is just an emotion. So I might kill the other person for sure, because my anger sometimes reaches the levels that are beyond Kangana's. So in my case, there would be only one star-crossed lover, but the other one would be hooking up the next day. And after that, I think the science projects regarding stars are very fascinating in India. They have all these models made that are replicas of the bodies that are floating in space, and the children learn a lot through them, as in you can observe this thing. But again, there is one stupid concept over there. I am going out of the way right now. The concept called shooting stars, I think that again is something that has been created just for the sake of making someone enthusiastic about life, or making someone hopeful that you have, this is something that is observed by very few people. Since you have observed it, you can now actually look you can now actually wish for something that is going to be with you in some time, because you have wished it. And then perhaps this concept, again, something I would say was, the idea of a fool, and it has continued just because of the optimism associated with it. And the other one, like when someone dies, he or she becomes a star. Now that, I think, can be used to pacify children when their grandparents die or when their parents die. They are not completely rational, so they can be given this placebo that your parents or your grandparents are looking at you. You do not have to worry about anything, they are with you. So that gives a certain degree of hope, or a certain amount of hope. We cannot measure hope, but let it be. So that can actually come in useful, because that hope is going to be with them for the till the time they have grown up to be logical individuals, and then they might quash this illusion themselves. And coming to the scientific part again, that I had started 2 points ago, that the models in the schools are actually very useful. You can get to know the properties of stars, you can get to know what they are meant to be, what they can do. And in that case, I think that is somewhere humanity has taken a right step towards studying stars, beyond all the gobbledygook that is regarding how stars affect your lives, or how stars can be manipulated into moving in a certain direction, so that your life can be turned into something serendipitous. Nothing of that sort happens. And drawing stars is, I think, a bit difficult. Maybe not difficult, because we have considered them spheres only. So you can draw a sphere with some, I would say, with some irregularities on the surface, and you might say this is a star. Drawing planets is a bit more, I would say, difficult, because you have to draw an orbit around them or something. And there are countless stars on, in the textbooks it's said that there are countless stars. And you know and even if we look at the sky, the stars are actually countless, and that seems something enigmatic right now. But again, there are various things that are beyond the can of a normal individual, and beyond the can of a specialist also, because we are humans at the end of the day. So we should not be fascinated to an extent that it starts harming us. We should consider them a body that is there, just like us. We were created, they were created, and they are going to be there. We might not be there, because if the dinosaurs died out, we are going to be extinct also one day. And we are going to have fossils lying here or there, and they might be the fossils of something that uh, you know that was there at a certain time, but a certain phenomenon happened, and they were the only ones left behind. Let me check the time. So it's almost 15 minutes. So there was nothing that I would use to, my capabilities are already on display. It was not about that. And it was just that you can go from any point to any other, just continue talking, and you can easily score a band 6.5, even with the mediocre vocabulary and uh, mediocre vocabulary and grammar capabilities. And this is something you should work on, breaking the cerebral barriers. As in, most of you are not able to speak for more than 1 minute or more than 30 seconds. That is just because you have been given some conventions, given some rules, but there are no rules. Keep speaking, keep talking your heart out, and I think that is what speaking requires. If you like this video, give it a like.